Well, good morning and good day to everyone, and welcome to the Delta Upsilon International Fraternity webinar on the Global Service Initiative. I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your schedule today to join us. My name is Kay Schendel, and I'm delighted to serve the fraternity as the Director of Global Initiatives. A little bit about myself. I've been working for Delta Upsilon since October of 2012, and prior to that I assisted with the creation of the Global Service Initiative trips to Jamaica. So today we're going to have some fun, and we're going to discuss what the Global Initiative is, what we hope to accomplish, and how you can support the chapters that you advise in this area. Upon conclusion of my remarks, there will be an opportunity to ask some questions, or you can feel free to contact me via email at schendel@deltau.org. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first question you might be asking is just what is the Global Service Initiative? I'm having some problems here advancing the screen, so let me see if I can get this to advance here. Great, there we go. So what I'd like to do is provide you with an overview of the Global Service Initiative and why we're engaged in the GSI. You know, our world is much different today than it was even a generation ago. The Internet allows for worldwide interaction between people who would never have previously communicated. And this opens up a vast array of possibilities that can improve economic conditions, support workforce development, inspire intercultural advancement, and improve the overall human condition. And it also presents challenges such as interacting in different languages and with people of a different culture and of different values. What's important in all this is learning about these differences firsthand. And one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences undergraduate brothers can have is to be engaged in learning about different cultures and different values. As the global economy and the community grow, so does the need for people who excel in the international arena. And globally competent students must have the knowledge and the skills to investigate the world, construct and weigh perspectives, and communicate with a diverse audience, and take action to make a difference in the world. Recent studies have indicated that employers are seeking people that have experience with cultural diversity in America and in other countries. They simply desire college graduates that have had a significant exposure to an international or international experiences that prepare them to function well within the international context of their profession and as global citizens. Employers also want the ability for their employees to apply knowledge and skills to real-world settings through internships or other hands-on experiences prior to joining the workforce. And I'm pleased to say that Delta Upsilon's Global Service Initiative provides a dynamic vehicle for this type of experiential learning to occur. The Global Service Initiative actively supports the creation of global perspectives, promotes leadership development, and generates community service-based learning opportunities while championing them as integral aspects of DU's mission, values, and founding principles. Participants learn relationship skills, effective communication habits, problem-solving skills, an appreciation of human differences, cultural fluency, social and civic responsibility, and potentially develop a lifelong commitment to public service and engagement by making a difference in the lives of other people, other communities, and other countries. So this being said, what really is the GSI? And the GSI today really is four distinct different components. They are our short-term service immersion trips, the Global Service Initiative, the philanthropy piece, our regional days of service, and then most recently, our partnership with the Red Cross and the Home Fire Campaign. So let's take a little bit of time to break these down one by one. So the Global Service Initiative began in 2009, and since that time, participants have traveled both within the United States and internationally in multidisciplinary teams to cities and communities to engage in active and meaningful service. These undergraduate brothers have had the opportunity to gain new perspectives on a wide range of economic, political, cultural, and social issues while meeting the needs of the local area, as well as learning about and building upon community assets. These short-term service immersion trips create a unique and powerful learning environment by integrating immersion-based experiences with focused and deliberate service and also reflection activities. This experience fosters an attitude towards civic engagement, social change, and cultural global understanding and appreciation. And it also allows our brothers to undergo a realistic self-appraisal where they engage in a reflective process that encourages them to examine personal attributes such as identity and self-esteem, confidence, ethics, and integrity. And additionally, the GSI ignites critical and reflective thinking as a result of social engagement through complex community immersions. I think if you've traveled internationally, you'll know that traveling abroad is often considered a transformative or life-changing experience for many of us, and that's particularly true for students. They learn about themselves and the world while absorbing the nuances of different cultures. And travel affords students an opportunity to engage in a cultural immersion setting that often results in a more diverse and knowledgeable skill set. International travel also allows students from the U.S. and Canada to gain awareness and appreciation of how fortunate they are. And I'd like to share with you at this time a comment that Austin Peck, a member from California, 2012 said after he participated in the GSI experience. He said, "Being able to participate in the GSI has really changed my perspective on the idea of being part of a global society. It really makes me excited for the prospect of DU by having opportunities for international experiences for all of its members in the future. There really is a huge difference between living an experience that puts the global community in perspective and listening to a speech about being globally minded citizens." The GSI does all this by combining advocacy, reflection, and meaningful conversation, and develops students' leadership skills and encourages them to engage in social action for positive community outcomes. Several of our participants have referenced the idea of living in a bubble, and I put that in quotes. They've highlighted the fact that the GSI took them out of their comfort zones and opened them up to perspectives that they could not previously understand. On the final day of the GSI a couple years ago, one participant, Philippe Mims from Lehigh, 2014, stated, "Now I get that it is about giving everyone an equal opportunity to achieve what they want to achieve, and not everyone has the same opportunity." I think you can hear from those comments that the Global Service Initiative has had quite an impact on at least a couple of our undergraduate members. The DU GSI represents an exciting array of opportunities for its members. It increases the amount of regional, cultural, and international exposure and learning available to students while enhancing their global perspective. It creates unique opportunities for our members to conduct their own appreciative inquiry and participate in meaningful service. It allows for a broad cross-section of students access to learning in other areas of the country and the world, and it allows DUs to be ambassadors of their culture, ingenuity, and goodwill. And ultimately, the GSI results in students actualizing their potential as highly effective leaders, responsible citizens, and social innovators who improve academic, cultural, and global communities. The GSI Jamaica is a unique setting that presents an opportunity for members of DU to engage in an international experience, immersed in a fundamentally different culture whose citizens are also English speaking. And I think that's important for us to point out at this particular point. This is a rare combination of conditions that really challenges students to engage in meaningful cross-cultural dialogue, and additionally readily available and reliable ground transportation coupled with reasonably good highway infrastructure provides peace of mind as we engage our students in this cultural experience. And I think that answers the question of why the GSI in Jamaica. Our participants who are involved in the GSI Jamaica travel predominantly to an area of the country called Negril, and we work there with local school and youth programs. The team will learn about the visible juxtaposition of tourism and poverty and how these issues relate to one another. And the team works with youth programs and primary education school systems in these impoverished regions to construct new classrooms, support facilities, and repair existing structures. And frequently there's opportunities on these trips for our members to teach and mentor children in the classroom during the project. And what you're seeing in front of you are just a couple pictures of a couple of the groups that have gone. So the economic and social conditions that exist in Jamaica present an opportunity, and also they present a significant need for hands-on service. Without an infrastructure to support education, the Jamaican people are at a significant disadvantage in creating basic conditions that promote the education of their citizens. And it's also important to consider the costs associated with providing experiences such as this. Jamaica really presents for us a low-cost option relative to other locations that present a similar opportunity in terms of airfare, lodging, food, and materials. What I've got in front of you right now, and on the slide that you're seeing right now, you can see that we are once again offering 3 trips to Jamaica this year at the cost of $500 per individual plus airfare. And so you can see that the deadline has passed for the GSI 1, which is January 4 through 11. Those applications were due on November 4th. However, if you're an advisor out there that knows of a student that is interested in still attending this, please let me know. Drop me a line. We're right now sitting at about 23 registered participants for our GSI January experience, and we've got capacity to take that up to about 40. Last year our January trip had the most participants of any GSI experience to date, and we would hope that we could replicate that experience again this January. Our GSI number 2, let me back up to GSI January. It's a different experience this year than any other GSI that we've done, in that this one is a Wednesday to a Wednesday trip. Our typical trips start and go Saturday to Saturday, but this year, because of how the holidays fall, we'll be going Wednesday to Wednesday. So if you advise a chapter that is sending participants, please make sure that they're aware of this, and please make sure that they're booking the appropriate travel and making the appropriate arrangements. And finally, our last GSI experience will be in June this year, a little bit later, to accommodate those chapters that we have that are on the quarter system. So that trip will happen June 17th through 24th. And again, we're looking for a really good experience for everyone. There are scholarships available. There's 1 scholarship available for the January trip. That deadline has passed, and all those applicants have been notified that their applications have been received. They will be notified, I hope, next week on who receives the scholarship for the January trip. There are 2 scholarships available for the May and June trips, and those scholarship applications will be posted on the DU website within the next couple of weeks, so you can make sure that you're looking for that information. I want to talk a little bit about our domestic GSI pieces before I go on to our regional days of service. We've often been asked about what are we doing domestically, and this is a nice segue into our regional days of service as well. In 2012, we did a GSI New Orleans trip, and that was our first domestic team-based service initiative. During that trip, our DU men partnered with a local nonprofit to conduct post-Hurricane Katrina relief work. And what this work included was the renovation of a daycare playground, a community park cleanup, and the installation of energy-efficient lighting. And all these projects took place in neighborhoods that were still in the process of rebuilding from the hurricane. The program and the location allowed for the participants to examine the unique and complex challenges of an urban community that is still struggling to regain its footing after a significant natural disaster. And they were additionally able to explore the history, the economy, and politics of a distinctive city and a region of the country. In 2014, we had members travel to Washington, D.C., where we partnered with an organization called A Wider Circle. A Wider Circle is a service organization in the Metro DC area whose mission it is to eradicate poverty within the District of Columbia. And I'm also pleased to report that it is run by one of our very own members from Northwestern, Dr. Burgell. And we're really fortunate that we get to work with Dr. Burgell in this capacity, and what our members were engaged in during this time was the pickup of used furniture and household appliances, and then the ability to partner those used items with people that were previously homeless and provide items for them to use in their homes. But today, here's the deal. The GSI has come to encompass much, much more than the international and the domestic service immersion trips. In the 2014, or at the 2014 Leadership Institute, a new initiative was announced called Regional Days of Service. What our Regional Days of Service do is they bring together chapter members from several different chapters to engage in meaningful community service. To date, we've had about 12 communities served around the United States by DU members. If the chapter you advise is interested in hosting a regional day of service, all they simply need to do is contact me with a date that works for them, and we'll do the rest. So here's how these work. What we do is, and on the left you see the chapter from Bradley and some of the nearby chapters surrounding Bradley, and then on the right-hand side of the screen you see our North Carolina brothers that are working on a 2-year project with the Odd Fellows. What we're able to do is find partners within the community in a specific region and bring together chapters that would be under 100 miles into that community to do service work together. Additionally, what we've been able to do is provide facilitation of that service upon completion of the day. And what I mean by that is we have developed a curriculum that allows a local alumni to engage the men in a dialogue that pushes them and challenges them to think about what kind of work they've been engaged in for the day. And here you'll see a picture of the Minnesota chapter that was engaged in a regional day of service. And what they did is they worked at Feed My Starving Children, an entity in Minneapolis that was involved in packaging food for folks around the world that are in underrepresented populations. We've had projects that have included the Oregon Coast Cleanup, like I mentioned, rehabilitating a cemetery in North Carolina with the Oddfellows, building a fence at a women's shelter, packaging medical supplies, working at Neighborhood House, working at Feed My Starving Children, working at an entity called Books from Africa. So you can see we've done a number of different initiatives, and these regional days of service are really a way for the men in your chapter to gather with other DUs and to make a difference in their community. At the 2016 Leadership Institute, we announced yet another GSI initiative, and that is our partnership with the American Red Cross and what they call their Home Fire Campaign. The Home Fire Campaign for the American Red Cross is a 5-year effort to reduce the number of home fire deaths and injuries, and focuses on populations that are more vulnerable to home fires, such as youth, the elderly, and low-income residents. This year, we piloted that initiative at our Leadership Institute in Indianapolis. We had 21 men go out into the streets of Indianapolis to work with the Red Cross and local fire departments to install and provide fire prevention education to at-risk communities. Just this last Saturday, I was a part of the pilot project of the Home Fire Campaign at Indiana University, where we had 31 men go out into the community, and really pleased to announce that we were able to install over 40 smoke detectors in homes. Simultaneous to that, we had 16 men from our Rochester chapter that were out in the streets of Rochester, New York, again, partnering with the local fire department and the Red Cross to start this initiative. The goals of the Home Fire Campaign, and we're just so excited about this, are listed on this slide in front of you, but really what it's about is to improve safety and resilience of families and individuals across the nation by installing no-cost smoke alarms and smoke detectors in their home, and in addition, increase outreach and education of hazard prevention and preparedness to at-risk populations. And we're just really, really excited about this. Like I said, we did Indianapolis and Indiana and Rochester. Our spring semester, what's on deck for that would be Iowa State and Oregon State in the spring. If you are advising a chapter that's interested in getting involved in the Home Fire Campaign, please feel free to let me know about that, and I will certainly contact the Red Cross to work to get you connected in the community. We provide all the training with the Red Cross officials to help our teams learn how to be good ambassadors of the Red Cross, and so the teams are taught how to install the smoke detectors, how to conduct the survey in the home to gather information about how many people are living in the home and where there is at risk in that home. And then finally, we've got an educator role as part of the team, where that individual is able to provide the family with a fire emergency plan and some additional materials for them to utilize and to become more prepared in case of a fire. I just have to share with you an anecdotal story about the Home Fire Campaign that happened this weekend in Bloomington, Indiana. Like I said, I mentioned that I was fortunate to participate with the chapter in that event, and we went into a home on Saturday where we asked the woman if she had any working smoke detectors in the home, and she said, She didn't feel that she had had any working smoke detectors. And in fact, we went through and checked the 2 that were on the wall. They weren't working, and they were also expired. Something that I didn't know about until this past weekend is that smoke detectors actually have a 10-year shelf life. It doesn't matter if you're putting new batteries in them or not, they have a 10-year shelf life. And so she had no smoke detectors in the home and had 4 small children living in this home, 4 small kids under the age of 9. And when we asked her if we could put the smoke detectors and install 2 new smoke detectors for her in the home, she was just so thrilled. She said that she had wanted to do this but couldn't figure out how to afford the cost of the smoke detectors, and couldn't figure out how to do that and also feed her kids. I can tell you that that experience for that team that I was with on Saturday was incredibly powerful. And as we debriefed the experience and had a conversation about that, we were just all pretty moved about her story and about how DU is making a difference. You see, here's the deal. The Red Cross needs us to help them do this because they need feet on the ground, and I think it's a pretty cool activity. So let's go on to the last and the 4th final area of what the GSI is, and that's the Global Service Initiative is really unique, and DU is incredibly proud to have developed this initiative in as much as it serves a dual role in that it's not only the international philanthropy of the fraternity, but also it's the international service project of the fraternity. And that positions us uniquely within the interfraternal world. So let's talk a little bit more about the philanthropy side of the Global Service Initiative. Philanthropy events such as chili dinners, car shows, bowl-a-thons, DU donuts, haunted houses, all these things raise money for the various Global Service Initiative needs. And this money is directly funneled into our GSI short-term service immersion program in Jamaica. These needs include items like building materials and cement and lumbers and tools to do the work that we do. I'm pleased to report that in the last few years we've met or exceeded our goal to collectively raise and donate approximately $80,000 to the GSI each academic year, and that's just awesome. You know that colonies and chapters are all expected to raise at least $1,000 annually for the GSI, with larger chapters expected to raise much more. And in support of these fundraising efforts, fundraising levels and awards have been established. And what I put on this slide were the fundraising levels. You can see the awards if you go to the GSI homepage on the DU website. So the minimum expectation is to raise $1,000, but you can see that if your chapter hits either the $3,000, the $5,500, or the $10,000 threshold, there are some additional incentives and perks that are part of this. And those incentives include being able to send participants on the Global Service Initiative. And then finally, to assist you with fundraising efforts, we've developed a comprehensive resource that includes some of the best fundraising tools available that chapters can use to plan and to manage their events. So whether your chapter is hosting a walk-a-thon or a charity golf tournament or any other kind of fundraising event or donation drive, these resources are sure to help you achieve success. We have examples in there as well of letter writing campaigns, specific examples of how to book a room, how to make sure every detail is taken care of. And like I said, a PDF of this GSI fundraising resource guide can be found on the DU website. We can also send you a hard copy if you're interested in that as well. So our philanthropy is a big part of what we do, and and the expectations of our chapters, and really truly sets us apart from all the other interfraternal organizations, because there just aren't many out there that are doing both philanthropy or philanthropic efforts as well as the service component. At this time, if there are any questions, there's a chat window on the lower area, and you can feel free to put a question in the chat area. I'll give people a couple minutes to do that. Or if you have additional questions, you can feel free to give me a call. I've listed my cell number on the screen. Or you can feel free to email me at shendel@deltau.org, and I'll be happy to respond to questions that you have about anything related to the GSI. It has been a pleasure to spend some time with all of you today, and know that I appreciate the support that you're giving your chapters in terms of the Global Service Initiative. You can be incredibly proud of the work that we're doing as an organization, and I think know that the GSI is working hard to continue to place DU prominently within the interfraternal world, and I think more importantly, work to develop our men to become global citizens. So I thank you for that opportunity to work for you. And I don't see any questions, so at this time I'll thank you for participating. This webinar has been recorded and will be available to listen to again, but thank you for attending today, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you.